All right, today we're diving into some pretty incredible AI technology. It's totally changing the game for public safety, and it's creating disaster alerts that are way faster, smarter, and more reliable than anything we've had before.
So just think about this for a second. What if a warning for a flash flood or a landslide didn't arrive while it's happening, but in those absolutely critical moments before it hits? This isn't science fiction anymore. It's the real promise of the tech we're going to break down today.
You know, the biggest problem we're fighting against here is the clock. When a disaster strikes out of nowhere, that window you have to react is just tiny. And our traditional warning systems, they often depend on a person to see the data and make a call, which means they can be just a few minutes too late. And in these situations, a few minutes, well, that can be the difference between life and death.
So, first up, let's really get into the danger of delay. We need to understand why every single second matters so much.
The thing is, systems that rely on people have some major weak spots. A disaster doesn't care if it's 3 a.m., right? It can hit in the middle of the night or during a crazy storm when emergency teams are already spread thin. Then you add in the constant headache of false alarms, and you've got a system that might hesitate at the exact moment it needs to be decisive.
But what if we could just take that human delay right out of the equation? Well, that leads us to a totally new kind of guardian for our cities.
At the heart of all this is a technology called AIoT. Yeah, I know, another acronym. It stands for the Artificial Intelligence of Things. And what it really means in simple terms is that we're giving everyday devices like sensors and cameras the power to think for themselves. They can analyze what they're seeing, and, this is the important part, they can act on it instantly.
Honestly, the best way to picture this is to imagine a city with its very own nervous system. You've got this whole network of sensors that are like nerve endings, constantly checking for trouble, rising water, weird ground vibrations, things like that. And when they sense danger, the system reacts automatically. It's like a reflex, no thinking required. So that sounds pretty cool, but how does this digital nervous system actually get the job done? Let's break down the whole process from the first detection all the way to the final alert. It all happens in 3 lightning-fast steps. First, you've got the sensors, the eyes and ears of the system, and they are on duty 24/7. They spot a dangerous change, let's say a river rising way too fast. Step 2, an AI right there on site instantly crunches the data. This is so crucial because it can tell the difference between a real emergency and a false alarm, like a bird landing on a sensor. Once it confirms the threat is real, boom. Step 3, it automatically blasts out the alerts. All of this happens without a human ever having to lift a finger.
And we're not talking about a quiet little text message here. The system unleashes the warning across multiple channels all at once. We're talking powerful loudspeakers screaming, "Evacuate immediately." Digital signs on highways start flashing emergency messages, and at the same time, city officials get instant alerts pushed right to their phones. The whole point is to make sure the message gets to everyone, no matter where they are, as fast as humanly or, in this case, artificially possible.
Now, this whole automated approach isn't just about being quick. It also creates a system that's fundamentally smarter, faster, and, get this, a lot cheaper.
When you look at them side by side, the difference is just night and day. We're going from a slow, reactive system to one that's instant and proactive. We're moving away from something that's vulnerable to human error to something that's automated and reliable 24/7. And we're ditching the high risk of false alarms for threats that are actually verified by AI before anyone even panics.
So, what's the secret sauce that makes all of this happen so incredibly fast? Well, it's something called Edge AI. This just means the AI's brain isn't sitting in some far-off data center. It's right there, on the device itself, on the edge of the network. The thinking happens locally, which slashes the communication delay down to almost nothing. That's the real game changer that makes an instant response possible.
Now, you're probably thinking a system this futuristic must cost a fortune to install. But believe it or not, it can actually cut construction costs by 30 to 50%. I know, right? How is that even possible? Well, the answer is just genius in its simplicity. It uses what the city already has. Instead of digging up roads to lay new cables or building huge new towers, these systems can just be installed on existing streetlight poles or CCTV cameras. It piggybacks on the infrastructure that's already there. It's such a smart way to give a city a massive safety upgrade without a massive price tag.
And this isn't just a concept. If we look at a real-world example from a company in this space, Sandeul, you can see these advantages laid out pretty clearly. Their on-site Edge AI gives them that ultra-low latency we've been talking about. The hardware is tough, industrial-grade stuff designed to run non-stop. It's super flexible, so it can work with all kinds of different sensors, and you can even monitor and fix it remotely, which makes maintenance way easier.
So, when you put all these pieces together, what do you get? Let's zoom out and look at the big picture. The idea of a city that actively, intelligently protects the people who live in it.
The impact here is just huge. First, and obviously most important, this is all designed to reduce injuries and save lives. But it doesn't stop there. Fewer false alarms mean our first responders aren't wasting time and resources on non-events. And simpler maintenance means the system actually stays up and running effectively for the long haul.
At the end of the day, this isn't just about bolting some new gadgets onto a city. It is a fundamental transformation. We're turning passive infrastructure, steel, concrete, and wires, into a living, intelligent system. We're building a city that doesn't just sit there, but one that actually thinks and responds to keep its people safe.
And this mission statement from Sandeul really just perfectly captures the whole spirit of this idea. It's not about reacting to danger anymore. It's about getting out ahead of it. It's a totally proactive approach to safety, trying to create cities that protect you before the danger can even get to you.
So that leaves us with one last big question to think about. As our cities keep getting smarter and technology like this becomes the norm, what does true safety even look like in the future? What other possibilities are out there for us to protect each other?